Good morning and good afternoon to all of our participants. Thank you so much for joining us. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar on Renewable Energy Master's Programs in Europe. For those of you who are not familiar with IRENA, we are an intergovernmental agency mandated by countries around the world to promote the widespread and sustainable use of all forms of renewable energy. IRENA has 139 members and more than 32 states in the process of becoming members. Before we begin the session, we would like to share a quick note that IRENA does not endorse or recommend specific products or services shared within its webinar series. Information in this webinar is featured in the IRENA Renewable Energy Learning Partnership database as just one of many best practice case studies. If you are interested in finding out about future webinars offered through the IRENA webinar series, please visit the IRENA Renewable Energy Learning Partnership website and sign up for our weekly newsletter to receive updates about courses, webinars, and internship opportunities in the sector. For today's webinar, we have two options for listening in. You may connect by computer by selecting mic and speakers, or by phone by selecting the telephone option in the right-hand panel. If you should face any technical difficulties during the webinar, please contact the GoToWebinar help desk at the number provided on your screen. This will be an interactive session, and we would like to encourage everyone to ask questions. To do so, simply select the questions panel in the right-hand bar and enter your question with a note of who you would like the question directed to. We will be collecting questions throughout the webinar. If you would like to watch this webinar again or to share it with a friend, we will have a full recording available on the IRELP website as well as on the IRENA YouTube channel. If we're not able to answer all of your questions during today's session and you wish to connect with our panelists, I encourage you to visit the IRENA community and join the Renewable Energy Masters Program discussion under Featured Topics. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists for today. Our first speaker will be Mohammed Mahdi, who is an MSc candidate in the postgraduate program in renewable energy at Oldenburg University in Germany. Second, we will hear from Bryony Parrish, who is a graduate of the MSc in Environmental Technology at Imperial College London in the UK. We are also joined by Thierry Ha, who is a graduate of the European Masters in Renewable Energy, or EUREC, where he attended both the University of Zaragoza in Spain and Paris Minas Tech in France. And lastly, we will hear from Sindhu, who is currently enrolled in the European Joint Masters in Management and Engineering of Environment and Energy, also known as ME3. As part of this program, she studied at the Polytechnic University of Madrid in Spain, Mines de Nantes in France, and the KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. So with that, I would like to hand over the floor to our first speaker, Mohammed Mahdi. Mohammed, you have the floor now.
Okay, thanks for your introduction. Hello guys, my name is Mohammed Mahdi and I'm from Afghanistan. My background is electrical engineering, and also I have a master's degree in transmission and distribution from India. And currently I am studying postgraduate program Renewable Energy, PPRE, in Oldenburg University, Germany. The reason that I choose the PPRE program to study master course is that it's one of the only courses in just 3 or 4, and if you search in the Google, one of the first options that come for you to study renewable energy in Germany is Oldenburg University. And also, you know that Germany is one of the leading countries in the field of renewable energy in the world, and they are investing a lot in this field, and also they are investing in research in the universities. There are lots of reasons that people can choose Germany to study renewable energy. Okay, coming to the point of explaining about my course PPRE. It's a 18 months program, consists of 3 semesters. And when you finish these 3 semesters, it's not an easy job, it's really difficult, but you will feel that after this 3 semesters, you are a different person and you have learned a lot of things. It's really difficult, especially for those students who come from Asian countries like me, but step by step, if you get used to that, and you can take advantage of this program and you can get lots of knowledge. Actually, the faculty and the staff of PPRE, they are working to extend this program and change it to 4 semesters because most of the students are complaining that it's too much compressed and it's too much workload, but it worth it because you learn a lot of things. It's 150 credit points in 3 semesters, and it's a lot. Explaining something more about each semester, I can tell you that first semester always start from August, or winter semester, and in 3.5 months, you have to pass 14 exams, and you have to write 6 lab reports and 1 country report, and there are so many excursions and also German course. You will learn somehow German also. And yeah, it was from the winter semester. And after winter semester, you will have a practical training for 2 months, and you have to find some companies for the practical session. And one of the good things about PPRE program is that there is an alumni network of all people who have graduated from PPRE program. It's a 30 years program, and those students who previously studied this program, they are still in contact with the PPRE staff, and they are all of them, they are engineers or they are working in research institute or some organization. And this network is really valuable for the people, for the students who are looking for a place for practical training. And it's really international. I mean, you can choose whether you want to go to Asia or to Africa or to Afghanistan also, or everywhere, because the network is really wide and you can use this network. And another good point about PPRE program is that it's really, diverse. I mean, in my batch, we are 30 students from 30 different countries, from US, from Canada, from Australia, from South America, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, all over the world, different cultures, different languages, and different backgrounds, and all together coming to study renewable energy. Okay, after practical training, the summer semester will start. In summer semester, you have 6 exams and also again 6 labs, practical labs. And also second semester is a specialization semester that you can choose your specialization. And one of the good things about PPRE program is that you have variety of alternatives to choose. I mean, different technologies. I can say almost most of the renewable energy branches you can choose. For example, wind, solar, hydro, energy storage, biomass, energy methodology, energy management, and rural electrification, and variety of other choices you can choose. And also you can have 2 or 3 specializations in same time. And it depends on you to how you manage your time. And because it's a lot of work to do, and if you go for more specialization, it will be really difficult for you to continue. And the third semester is master program, master thesis, that now I'm doing that. I'm doing my master thesis now in biomass topic. I'm going to install a biomiler inside the PPRE building inside the Oldenburg University. It's a research project, and yeah, I'm almost done. And maybe after 3 weeks, I'm just submit my report and defense my thesis. And after finishing PPRE, the good things about Germany and those people who are studying in Germany master program is that the government of Germany support you, and they're going to give you extension visa for 18 months. You can have visa for looking for job. And also one of the good programs, especially for the students of German university, is EXIST program, and it's a program that's supporting students who have some business idea and who they want to start a business or start a company. The university itself helps them. And Oldenburg University in this program is the third university in Germany that entrepreneurship activities in this university is good. The first one is Berlin University, the second one is München, and the third one is Oldenburg University. And you can use this opportunity as I used me and my classmates, like 4 guys, one from Morocco, one from Japan, and another guy from Germany. 4 guys, we are starting the company, and we are going to apply for this program, and they're going to help us regarding the office, money, and helping from the staff of university, and full support. If you have a good idea, if you have a good business plan, and you have the degree from Germany, EXIST program is really good option for you. Yeah, and regarding the job related to RE, renewable energy market in Germany, and especially in Oldenburg area, it's really good place because I'm seeing my classmates, those who are doing their thesis in some companies or research institute, all of them get offers, not all of them, majority of them get some offers from different companies to continue their thesis, I mean as a research assistant or as an employee. And in my perspective, the job opportunity, especially in Oldenburg, is really good, and whole Germany also. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share with you. And yeah, Stephanie, can you hear me?
Thank you very much, Mohammed, for sharing. That was great, and it's wonderful to hear your experiences, and I'm sure we're going to have lots more questions for you following the other presentations. So next we're going to hear from Bryony, who attended Imperial College London. So Bryony, you have the floor now.
Hi everybody, so I'm Bryony. I'm originally from Bristol, which is in the southwest of England, but I've been living and working in Brighton for the last few years, which is on the south coast of England, just south of London. I did the MSc in Environmental Technology at Imperial College London, and I specialise in energy policy. So as I'm going to talk about, maybe my master's is a little bit different to maybe some of the other panellists that you're going to hear from. I'm actually 27 now, so I did the master's as a mature student. And before studying it, I did my first degree in biology, so quite different, and then I worked as a teacher in secondary school, so 11 to 16-year-olds for a bit, and I also did a couple of other things. The reason I was interested in studying renewable energy, I mean, probably like everybody here, I think it's really important that we address climate change, and I thought that being involved in energy was really exciting because of the ambitions that we've got for transforming the energy system. I thought it was an exciting and a proactive thing to be involved in. I also found it quite interesting just kind of thinking about energy because it's got so many different aspects to it. and they all kind of interlink, both kind of technically if you think about energy systems, but then also because it affects everybody's everyday lives as well. So that appealed to me. But because my background was in biology and I wasn't an engineer or an economist, I kind of thought, well, maybe I can go and work in, in environmental things generally, but I didn't really know if I could do energy. I was a bit unsure about that. So for me, actually, a really good thing about the course that I did was that it doesn't kind of, it has a really diverse mix of people on it. Not just, I mean, yeah, certainly, like, there's a lot of international students as well, maybe similar to Mohammed's program, but also just in terms of people's backgrounds, it's really diverse. And it starts by introducing you to kind of, I guess, like more basic things. So, as I said, the course is environmental technology, and then the specialism I did was energy policy. So in the core course, which everybody on the Masters does, yeah, it starts with things like environmental economics, environmental law, environmental policy, and then you've got kind of the things I was more familiar with already, like pollution control and management, ecology, and quantitative skills, so kind of statistics and things like that. So everybody probably knows something of that who's doing the course, but everybody doesn't know something else as well. So it can be a bit of a kind of a steep learning curve to kind of get used to all, the whole breadth of things to start with. But something that's quite nice is that because everybody's got different backgrounds, they often kind of form study groups that kind of mix up people's backgrounds, and then it's a nice way to meet people and things, and also you get to learn from people's experiences, and also because a lot of people have actually worked already on the course. Yeah, I mean, like a third-ish of people probably. So you get to learn from people's work experiences as well. So after that kind of introduction, you break into your your option groups, which in my case was energy policy, and then much smaller groups. So there were 22 people in my option, and that was actually one of the bigger ones. So it's got a nice feel. So although it's mostly lecture based, it kind of feels more like seminars. There's a lot of opportunity for discussion with the lecturers and with your classmates. And again, it kind of starts at the beginning. So for example, looking at things like electricity system operation technically, and also in terms of markets and economics. So if you think that you don't have the background, it does kind of give you the basics to start with. But then although it kind of starts by introducing you to the basics, it's really good because then you are taught in some depth by experts about a whole diverse range of things that are related to energy. I'd say that, I mean, the whole course has got a slant towards a low carbon transition, but it's not specifically about renewable energies. So, I mean, you do learn about the whole range of renewable technologies, but you've also got things about the demand side, electricity demand, electrification, fossil fuels, including carbon capture and storage in terms of the kind of technically and economically as well, nuclear, storage, and then aspects that are kind of more relevant maybe to sort of policy making, so things like carbon pricing and carbon trading, the design of subsidies, different ways subsidies can be designed, kind of case studies for that, mostly around Europe and how that can kind of impact on what actually happens. Yeah, tensions between market and regulation is kind of comes up quite a lot at the moment. You've got innovation theory and energy systems modelling, so it's a lot of things to learn. It's a lot of contact time, but it's, yeah, I feel like I certainly learned a lot doing that. The thesis term, I guess, is an opportunity to go a lot more in depth into what you're interested in, and the course is quite good. The organisers are quite good about kind of providing suggestions. So if you don't, if you're kind of looking for inspiration, they do provide you with topics, and quite a lot of those are also with outside organisations. So if you're looking for some experience collaborating outside, that can be useful for that. But also, if you've got something that you're really interested in pursuing, then you can probably, as long as it's considered to be safe, you can probably go and do that. So even I knew some people who were really interested in something. They knew that somebody in a different university was working on, persuaded them to supervise them, and that's absolutely fine. You have a university, you have an Imperial College supervisor as well, but you're free to kind of collaborate and work with whoever you find interesting, if that's what you want to do. There are some other smaller courseworks as well earlier in the year, and they're quite good. I guess doing biology, I already was quite used to kind of writing essays and doing maybe kind of some more literature-based research. But I suppose if you've come from a very technical background, maybe if you are an engineer and you're looking for kind of getting a policy slant on things, that can be quite useful to develop maybe your essay writing skills and doing different types of research that aren't in the lab. It's also really good though just to give you a chance to kind of explore different areas, to go more in depth in the lectures into different things and kind of try them out. So for example, I guess coming from a biology background, when I started the course, I would have said that probably I was going to end up doing my thesis about bioenergy because that's what I knew the most about, and I still find it really interesting, but I actually ended up doing my thesis about demand response, so really quite different, not what I expected to do, and I think that that was probably influenced by by some of the coursework that I did, as well as just kind of the lectures and the things I learned throughout the course. Yeah, I finished the Masters in September. And so far it's helped me kind of quite directly because I was lucky that there was a short research project that was quite closely related to my thesis that was being done at the university. So I'm currently working as a research assistant doing that. But also, so obviously I developed a lot of knowledge, but also I think I just developed a very different perspective. So as well as learning about so many different aspects, I also started to think about things, whereas I would have probably, even though I didn't do engineering, having come from a science background, I probably thought about things in quite a technical way. But I'd say that now I have a kind of more balanced view, so that I'll maybe look at things try and look at and understand things from a technical perspective, but also in terms of policy and economics. And I'm sure that if people are coming from more of a humanities background, I suppose then you develop the other side, and then they're complementary, so you kind of develop more of a technical way of looking at things. And specifically something I learned about was systematic reviews, because that was the methodology that I used for my thesis. But equally, if you're interested in developing any other specific skills, then you could look for a thesis and a supervisor that would support that. So for example, some people did modelling, they learned how to do energy systems modelling, or it might be, for example, if you're looking at qualitative research, doing semi-structured interviews and focus groups and things like that. So there's quite a lot of freedom there to kind of learn what it is that you're interested in and you think is going to be useful for you. We were also asked to say something we thought we could have maybe focused on more, if it might be helpful for you guys to know about. I'd say for myself personally, I could probably have done with asking for some more feedback about how to kind of constrain research questions, because like I said, one of the things that interests me about energy is that it just links with so many different areas, but then sometimes I think in the courseworks I just get a bit carried away and I think, well, that's interesting and that's interesting as well, and then it can become a bit unmanageable, and I suppose you have to acknowledge the complexity but also kind of pin it down, otherwise you can't really answer the question. But hopefully I'll still learn and improve at that. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll hand over to Stephanie.
Thanks very much, Bryony, for that great advice. I think that's really helpful to everyone listening today, and I know we've got lots of questions coming in, so we'll be forwarding those to you in just a short little while. So next we're going to hear from Thierry, who is part of the EUREC program. So Thierry, you have the floor now.
Yes, thank you very much. As I was hearing from Bryony, I really agree with her with the importance of a policy. I would wish to have a more information about more training about policy. But anyway, I'm going to talk about the EUREC master, my experience with the EUREC master. So a bit of information about me. So I'm a Canadian, so I'm not European, with an engineering background from mechanical engineering. So graduated in 2010. I worked for 2 years in solar in Canada, solar PV, and I decided to diversify because I wanted to not specialize only on solar PV. I wanted to see renewable energy in general. So I decided to look into the Europe masters, and I found the EUREC. So decided to apply, and I started my core university in France, in Mines Paris, the Mines de Paris first, and after that a specialization in Spain, in Zaragoza, in grid integration, a specialization on grid integration, and after that, I did that in between 2012 and 2013. So I already graduated, and so I worked for 1 year, almost 1 year, as a consultant in Paris, and now I'm working for the county council of West Normandy, north of France, on projects of renewable energy and hydrogen projects. Maybe a small word just to introduce the master itself. EUREC is actually an agency, a consortium of renewable energy research center, which started in 2002 a master because they saw that there was not enough people in the renewable energy sector. So they regrouped some of the university, some of the research center from their consortium to create a master. So how it's structured is it's a 1.5 year program. First half is what we call the core program, and inside of the core it's a general program to make all the people, all the new students to have the same level of information about the renewable energy. So we look at all the renewable energy technologies, so biomass, solar PV, thermal, wind power, hydraulic, everything. So it's a general program, and inside of the core, so you have 5 options of university. So I did mine in Mines Paris, which was not in Paris but in south of France. That's one option. Another option is the Hans University in the Netherlands. Another one is Spain in Zaragoza, and UK in Loughborough, and Germany in Oldenburg. So one thing that is interesting in this is that even though we are in the Master of EUREC, we still have some classes with other master programs from those universities. For example, the Oldenburg, in Oldenburg, so some of the people from EUREC have the same classes with the PPRE, the Master of Mohammed. So it's interesting to have feedback, to have a bigger group in the class. So usually we're about between 10 and 16 students, so inside of the EUREC master for each class, and sometimes we're matched with other masters, so it's a bigger class, so we can be about 30 people. So that's the first half of the program. The second half is the specialization. So depending on what you want to specialize on, you're going to be matched to another different university. So for example, if you want to specialize in wind technology, it's going to be in Athens, in Greece. For solar PV, it's going to be in the UK, Northumbria. For Spain, so it was a grid integration, which was my specialization. Solar thermal in France, in Perpignan. Ocean energy in Lisbon, in Portugal. And there's a new program this year, I think. It's the fuel system, sustainable fuel system for mobility, which is in Hans. So it's interesting because you have we meet people every time. So the first half we were in some we meet with the other students, and the other half of the program we're mixed again, and we're going to meet with other people, which has the same objective of specialization. So those are the first two the first two half, and the last half year is going to be the internship. So depending on what you find, so you have to find your own internship. The university can help you to find that. For example, for me, I found my internship with EDF in France, with the subject of insular renewable energy integration into insular networks. So that was interesting. And at the end, we have this final report and the final presentation. So what is interesting in the program is that we get a diploma that is issued by the core university, which has an equivalency with the other partner university. So, for example, I have a diploma from Mines Paris Tech, and it's equivalent, since it's the same master program, to the other university that I mentioned. What else? So it's a 90 ECTS credit program. For example, for my year in 2012-2013, we were 21 nationality, so all across from Europe and outside of Europe. And in total, for each year, we're about 52 students in total that are in different universities. And I know that there's going to be another program that is going to be that the EUREC, the agency, is working on, which is more related on management. So perhaps it might interest other people. Also, the master program has a partnership with the Greenfish company, which is a job hunting company, which help us to find work afterward for job hunting. For me, after the program, I finished in December 2013, and I found my work. I started working in March 2014. So it took me about 3 months to get work. My general opinion of the master, if I had to do it again, I would surely do it again. I really appreciated the diversity. Really, what I gained from this program is really the contact, all the people, the networking that we have. Even now, if I have questions about anything, I can ask people from different generations, different alumni, and we have connection also with all the different universities. So I can ask also, I can approach more easily the people from teachers or from other universities. So that's really interesting. I guess that you guys are going to have some more questions. For me, that was all the things that I wanted to say. So feel free to ask me some more questions afterward. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Thierry. It was really interesting to learn more about EUREC, and thanks for sharing your experiences with us. Next, we're going to hear from Sindhu about the ME3 program. So Sindhu, you have the floor now.
Hi everyone, I'm Sindhu. I'm from Hyderabad, which is in south of India. I did my bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering and a minor in renewable energies. After that, I wanted to do a master's in renewable energies because we had a series of blackouts in India during my bachelor's, and I wondered, even with such scorching sun, we didn't really use the potential of sun that's available. And yeah, so I decided to do my master's, and it was tough to choose one master program and also to select the programs to apply, because it was comparatively new field in masters. So I didn't know anyone who did their masters in renewable energies. So I just did some random Google searches and narrowed down to few master programs. And I put my criteria of Europe, doing it in Europe because Europe is pioneer in renewable energy technologies. And then I chose few programs based on the course content that was there on the website and also the universities that were offering. My master program is very similar to theories. I applied to that as well. But then I choose mine ME3 master program. ME3 is Erasmus Mundus course sponsored by European Union. It's a 2-year master program with 4 semesters, and it gives like a general view of management in first semester, environmental engineering in the second, and energy engineering in the third. In the final semester, you get to do an internship to write your master thesis either in corporate sector or in research area. I'm now in my 4th semester, so I will be graduating in August. Yeah, I'm now interning at IRENA, and well, my master has 16 people from 15 different nationalities, and yeah, it's very international, and the best thing about my master is that you get to move, you get to travel different countries, since each semester is in a different country and a different university. First semester I did in Madrid, so I got to know about Spanish culture, and I had courses like corporate strategy, accounting, finance, entrepreneurship, yeah, and general management. In the second semester, I did it in Nantes, which is in France. It was about environmental engineering, which includes waste treatment, wastewater treatment, indoor air treatment, sustainability, energy efficiency, everything that's related to environmental engineering. It is pretty hectic because you have a lot of courses and it's a full-time master program, so you can't really do any part-time job while you're studying. And this third semester is in KTH, Stockholm, Sweden. It's known for its energy research, and it's about general renewable energies that are there and how the technology improved over the past few years. And we will also learn about sustainable power generation, about thermal plants, and energy utilization, which is again about energy efficiency, and general energy and environment. During the master program, you'll also get to learn few software tools that are very useful later and that can add a lot to your resume. And what else? Well, yeah, since you move around, you get to meet a lot of different people, and every semester you will be paired with another master program, so you will meet more people, like how it is in theories program. Yeah, what else? You can do your internship in any field because the program is so broad. You have a lot of choices that you can choose from. And for me, I searched a lot on IRENA, which was very useful. Yeah, and we also, from my batch of masters, we are trying to develop a blog to answer questions or to answer general questions that people have when they want to choose a master's, and it's called me3masters.wordpress.com. We are still updating the blog time to time, so if you have any doubts about the program, you can also read through the blog. Well, yeah, and like theories program, we don't really have any support from the program to have job search. You will just have to search by yourself. Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge. And I think this, like Thierry said, if I had a chance to do the master's again, I would definitely go for it. I think I learned a lot from the program, not just the course content, but also in general about life or people, cultures, languages. Yeah, I think I'm a better person now, and I would definitely recommend people to take up my master's who don't really have an idea right now in which area you want to specialize. Since the master is quite varied in course content, you don't really specialize in one particular field, but you have a broad view of what's there in that engineering or background. Well, yeah, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions if you have any. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks very much, Sindhu. So we really appreciate everyone's presentations. I think that gave us a good background on each of your programs. And we've got lots of questions coming in. So we're going to open the floor now. And our first question is going to be to Mohammed. So Mohammed, we're wondering, how did you choose your thesis topic? And how did you find your advisor? Did you know about your advisor prior to joining the program, or did you find them once you started?
Yeah, actually the topic of my thesis is related to biomass, and this is my interesting topic that I was looking for some position with some thesis on that. And fortunately, our lecturer who taught us biomass in the 2 semesters, also he offered some thesis topic, and I easily choose that, and I started working. Yeah, it was from the staff of PPI program. They have a specific topic, and I choose that. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful. So our next question is for Bryony. It's sort of a two-part question. So we're wondering, does the university employ any master's students? I think you kind of mentioned this, that you're now working at the university as maybe research assistants during their studies, and also what sort of career assistance is provided by Imperial College following your graduation or during your program?
In terms of being employed as research assistants or teaching assistants, I mean, yeah, I'm employed as a research assistant now, and that's, there's other people in, in the office I work in who did the masters, and that's how they kind of ended up working there. But I mean, yeah, I'd agree with what some of the other panelists have said, that like you probably just can't really work while you're doing the masters, because it's it's taught and it's kind of quite intensive, because like I said, a lot of people don't have the background maybe, so there's a lot of stuff to get through. So you've got kind of like maybe 6 hours of lectures a day, 5 days a week, and then you've got your coursework as well. So I don't think that you probably couldn't fit in very much part-time work on top of that. I mean, I think the careers support is pretty good actually. They're quite proactive, I think, because when I did my undergrad it was a bit more like, there is a career service, you can go and speak to them if you want to. But at Imperial, the people in the career service who kind of specialise in environmental careers, they'll kind of actually come over to the base for the course, and so they'll kind of say, oh look, you can come and you can book and have a drop-in session with us just for 5 minutes, and it kind of gets you going. You can also book to obviously go and see them, and that can be, yeah, again for just 5 minutes if you want to have like an application reviewed, or you can have book 20 or 40-minute consultations as well if you want to discuss things in more detail. Again, like other people have been saying, there is an alumni network. As far as I know, that it's not an alumni network in as much as there's a kind of a database of people where you can go and see, I think this person's doing a really interesting job, I'd like to ask them about the job or how they got the job. But it does mean that a lot of opportunities are circulated. So the way it works is basically, as you're coming towards the end of the masters, you get put onto the email list, which you can kind of stay on for forever, and then you kind of receive all these different sort of opportunities that are becoming available through people that have done the masters previously. So that's pretty good. Also, it's kind of interesting that through the course, because obviously you get to meet people, there are a lot of outside lecturers and things, they're mostly academics, obviously, a bit from consultancies as well, but also there are on Thursday evenings throughout the first 2 terms, so before the thesis term when people go off and do their own thing, they have what they call policy seminars, so they have different people come in, and it's not specifically, quite a lot of them are about energy, but it's also about, because the course is broad, it's about a lot of different areas, but they can be people who are, you know, working in industry or consultancies, think tanks, NGOs, and because they're followed by, you could kind of go and have wine and drinks and things, or, you know, soft drinks. So it's kind of quite a nice opportunity to chat to people there as well if you think that what they were doing sounded interesting. You can just find out a bit more about it.
Great, thanks. That's really helpful. So, Thierry, the next question's for you. So we're wondering how do you feel that your program prepared you for your career now? And are there any particular skills that you wish you had developed during your master's that might have helped you in the job that you're doing now?
Well, like I mentioned maybe during my presentation, one thing I really liked is the networking that the networking opportunity that we have. For example, now I have friends from all over Europe. I know people mainly from France, but also from Germany, from all across the world. They're working on different projects that are very interesting. If I have questions or whatever, I can get to them very easily. We have an alumni. We have access to alumni from the other university that we studied in. So, for example, for me, I have access to the alumni of in France, the Mines Paris. Have access also to the alumni of the in Zaragoza, in Spain. But also we have inside of our master, we're creating an alumni inside of the EUREC association. We're creating an association, and we have about 500 to 600 previous students who did the master program. So it's really interesting, and we did some statistics also to see where they come from. It's very diversified, and some of them maybe I forgot the number, but there's a lot of the alumni who did open their own company. So there's also some entrepreneurship in there. For the second part of the question, what I wish is more, perhaps I also introduced that, I wish I have more insight of the policy, which I think was a bit lacking. The program is really aimed for technical engineering, and I would have wished to have more insight of a policy for finance, management. But management is, from what I hear, is that they're creating another master. EUREC agency is creating a new master for management. But so it's those type of skills that I think it's very important in the working world. But engineers are lacking. So that's my answer.
Great, thank you so much, Thierry. So Sindhu, you're up next, and we're wondering about the focus of the ME3 program. Would you say that it's more coursework or more thesis and research based?
I think it's more towards coursework, because they try to compress a lot of subjects in one single semester. So it's more course. In management semester, it was more like practical work. We worked in teams because the focus was also for students to get to experience international working environment. So we had many projects with teams from different nationality people. So that was a balance between coursework and practical work. But the second semester with environmental engineering, it was just course. We had classes from morning 6 to evening, morning 8 to evening 6. So it was just a lot of information to take in. So that was quite a lot of coursework, and also we had few weeks for practical work with the software, and we also had a project work in that semester where we had thesis where we worked in a group and a practical problem that we needed to solve. So that was one of the course that we had. And in third semester, it was also a balance between course and practical work. We had a few projects that we needed to do and also courses that we needed to take. But it was not as hectic as in the second semester. We just had classes maybe 4 hours a day, 5 days a week as well. But in third semester, I think your focus is also shifted towards finding an internship, so it's a bit stressful. So
okay. Thanks very much. So we have a few questions that are kind of open to everyone now. The first one is, what do you think makes a renewable energy master's program in Europe stand out from others, such as those in the US or in Asia? So maybe, Mohammed, you can speak first, and then everyone else can just chime in whenever you feel.
Yeah, actually talking about the PPRE, to answer your question, at Oldenburg University and for the whole Germany, as I mentioned in my presentation also, that just the of the study program is important, but the most important thing is application and practical training and the environment. I mean, when you come to Oldenburg, you can feel, when you see people, they are respecting nature, and there are so many companies, they are thinking renewable in this area. There are so many solar companies, there are so many wind companies, and people here in Germany, they are doing some social activity, they are organizing some demonstration against fossil fuel, and they are using electrical cars, and most of them they are working in some renewable energy companies, and this is a really good opportunity for the students here to feel this environment. And regarding finding the practicum, also beside the studying in the university, also the practicum, I mean this practical 2 months of practical training, it has really good effect on what you are going to grasp. Yeah, this is my answer.
Great, thanks, Mohammed. Does anyone else want to add to what he shared?
Well, maybe for me, I find interesting the question because I come from, America and the continent of North America. Actually, I started the program just before leaving for Europe in renewable energy in Montreal, and I wasn't really satisfied of the quality. So that's I find interesting the question. But what I really like, I support totally what Mohammed just said, is that Europe has I think a real vision on renewable energy, and they really have objectives in progressing into a sustainable. So that's why I think there's a lot of programs that I found that are based in Europe, and that's why I'm here in Europe.
Great, thanks. So we have another question that's, I guess, sort of directed to everyone. We have lots of people wondering about what the major admission requirements are. So maybe you guys know, or maybe you don't, but if you're aware, if you could share on each of your schools, whether you need to have any language exam or certificate such as TOEFL, if you need to have your GREs. And then we also had someone asking about whether it would be difficult to apply if their undergraduate degree didn't offer a grading scheme like a GPA. So, of course, I'm sure this information is also available online for each of your programs, but if any of you are aware, maybe you could share that. Sindhu, do you want to start?
Yeah, my program, all the courses are in English, so the language requirement of English with the IELTS is necessary. When I was applying in Europe, most programs didn't need GRE. They needed either IELTS or TOEFL, so you could give either one of them, and that is the language requirement that's needed. Yeah.
Okay, great. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah. I can't really. Oops, sorry, you go on.
Oh, your turn. Ladies.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I can't really remember in depth. I mean, I would say I remember that there was something about a certificate for language requirements, but also I would say because the course is quite, it's very essay based. So I think that language is probably more important maybe than if you were doing something that, I mean, I'm kind of making assumptions about your other guys' masters because you probably are writing essays as well, but I suppose if things are more engineering based, sometimes it can be more kind of looking at things in a mathematical way. And I know if people have done maths that I've spoke to on the course, they found that their maths undergrad in England was a lot easier than then coming onto this course, where they had to write essays in their second language. So I guess that's something to think about. But I can't remember what certificate they wanted you to have for it, I'm afraid.
Okay, great. Mohammed, you want to go?
Yeah, actually, regarding the PPRE program, the requirement is, divided in two groups, two windows. They are also PPRE is under the DAAD program, scholarship program, that is a German government-funded program, that each year they are accepting 7 guys from 7 different countries, especially developing countries, like Asia and like North America. And for that, the requirement is that you have to have the more than 75% GP, I mean the average percentage for your bachelor degree, and also 2 years of experience, and also IELTS, language course, these things are mandatory things. This is for the scholarship, application of the scholarship, which I got also. I have DAAD scholarship. And for the normal applicant, as a self-finance, yeah, the requirement is just the language, and you have to prove the financial capability, that you have money for each month, 370 euro. You have to go out on the bank, and then you can apply. And yeah.
Great, Thierry, did you want to
add something?
Sure, go ahead.
My program has Erasmus Mundus scholarships as well, but it is not clear and transparent how many scholarships are there every year, and it's also not clear how they choose students. But from what I observed is that if you have experience, working experience, then you have a higher chance of getting a scholarship. And yeah, I think the background of your engineering doesn't really matter because the course is quite varied. We had engineers from chemical background, we had HVAC engineers, general engineering. So yeah, the background doesn't really matter maybe, and yeah, working experience matters, and your grades and motivation letter. I don't know how exactly they count, but these are the things that count for to get into the master as well as to get scholarship. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thierry, do you want to add about EUREC?
Yeah, for EUREC, it's since there's a lot of university, the master is in English officially, but in the core, depending on which university you choose, it's going to be different. For example, in France, I did my first part in French. I think in Zaragoza it's going to be in Spanish, but I think all the rest of the university is going to be in English. So one of the requirements is for sure to master the language of the university that you choose, but also I think there's a requirement on the level of English that you need to, so whether you do a TOEFL or something else, but you need to have a certain level. For me, when I applied, I only had the undergrad diploma, so a bachelor, so it wasn't a problem. Each university I think they recruit their student differently, so it really depends on the responsible of each university. For me, on the scholarship side, I was one of the lucky students, and I received a scholarship, but an industrial scholarship. So it was EDF who financed part of my fees, scholar fees. So, and that really depends of the industrial partner of the who decide if they want to invest on this student or not. So really depends, and I don't think you should rely on the scholarship since there's not a lot available.
Okay, that's great to know, and actually kind of merges into some of the other questions that we've been getting, which are, how did you support yourselves financially, having to move to a new country and find a place to live, etc. So Sindhu and Thierry, you've both already mentioned scholarships, but Bryony and Mohammed, do you have scholarships that you're aware of at your universities? Bryony, maybe you can go first, and then Mohammed.
I don't want to say there aren't any if there are, and I just didn't realise, but as far as I know, there weren't any at Imperial. Some of the other master's courses in London I applied to, they did kind of make it more obvious that there were scholarships, but I decided I liked this course, so I did that one anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, personally, because as I said, I was a mature student, so I just used my savings, and yeah. And also, I mean, I'm a bit boring because I already lived in Brighton and I lived there all through the masters, so I didn't have to worry about finding anywhere to live or anything like that.
Okay, great. Mohammed, for you?
Yeah, actually, for every citizen of developing country living and studying in Europe without having a scholarship is really difficult. When I see the cost is here a lot, and the cost of the admission fee of the university also is high, and I have a scholarship, and I'm funded by DAD scholarship, and per month they're paying me. And also for those students who are not having any scholarship, especially Oldenburg University, one of the good things that I want to mention, that the policy is really helping to internationalize the university environment. And there are so many other small scholarships, especially for international students, that I saw so many of my classmates when they came here as a self-finance, they were paying by themselves to everything, but they applied for different scholarships inside Oldenburg, I mean the municipality of the Oldenburg city, especially for international students. There are some scholarships from the ISO office, International Student Office of Oldenburg University. There are also another scholarships, and there is another scholarship also. There are three different scholarships that students can apply for that. But me, myself, I have really a scholarship.
Great, wonderful, thank you. That's very helpful. So the next question, this is for Bryony. We have someone wondering if you would say that Imperial College and the program that you took has a specialty in policy, and then also wondering with your specialization in policy, what sort of jobs would be available post-graduation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess Imperial as a university is, it's kind of a science and engineering university almost entirely. But the course that I did, I mean, the little bit of Imperial that runs it is called the Centre for Environmental Policy. So I suppose it is, kind of a policy specialism. I mean, there are more kind of like natural sciences based options. So there's things like water management and pollution management and things like that. But they're not really, they're not like Sindhu's course where it's going to be like a very in-depth kind of engineering look at it. It's still going to be kind of a policy look at it. I mean, I guess Sorry, I lost my headphones. I guess in terms of the kind of jobs that you can do, I mean, I suppose obviously unless you've already come from an engineering background, the course isn't going to equip you to go and do engineering, obviously, because things would probably fall over if you tried. But the kind of jobs that people I know who've gone and done, I mean, obviously there are quite a lot of engineers who do the course, and then you can still be working in engineering, but with, with kind of some new perspectives maybe. Also some people who were working in finance before, and then they've done the course because they wanted to particularly look at kind of investments in renewable energies. So it gives them more insight. People going to work for consultancies, people going to work for government, so you can kind of work, I know somebody who's working for kind of local government as a, in the area of energy, or, potentially could go and work for, kind of national government things as well. So I think there are quite a lot of options. And I'd also say, a bit like Cindy said, that because the course, I'm mostly interested in energy, and I guess most people are most interested in energy, but if you were interested in doing something a bit different, because the first term is quite general, if you did want to just kind of work in, sustainability for business maybe, or some other kind of area, I think that you've probably got flexibility to go and do that as well, because you've got the kind of the general term to start with, where you get introduced to a lot of different areas.
Great, that's wonderful. So the next question is for Thierry and Sindhu. So we have someone wondering about how you found the shift between universities in your programs, and do you think that moving between these universities was beneficial, and did you learn anything particular from each institute that you attended? So Sindhu, do you want to go first, and then Thierry?
Sure. Well, I can say for sure that it's not going to be easy to shift from one country to the other, and then from one university to the other. I think since the shift from one country to the other would dominate the shift from one university to the other, you wouldn't really mind the changes. It would just be like the teachers change, which is not really a big deal, because for each course you have different teachers coming in from all over the world. So yeah, I think you would have to face the different culture change. You would get culture shocks or stuff from when I had to move from Spain to Nantes. Everything was a big mess. I had to ship my luggage, I had to get a visa, I had to book my transport. So I think that was more of a big concern for me than from university to the other. It's just a new, different experience, but I think you will really like it because you have your friends with you going as well, and it's nice. And I think you would also like to know about the grading. The grading is different in each university, but your course correspondent of the masters will help you through explaining of how it works with each university. So you would get an introduction when you move to the university. They'll be helping you all through the process. So it is not that difficult. You can go, Thierry.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I smiled when the question. The first word that I had in mind is difficult. Same thing. The thing is, when you start the university, you have 4 months in your core, and after that you have to move. So the pace of the class of the courses are really fast, and after that you have to change everything, find a new apartment, a new flat, and you change also people. Your colleagues that you had, the friends that you had on the first semester. For me, for us, we changed. It's really completely different. So depending on the specialization that you choose. For example, I started in France with 16 people. When I came to Spain, in the program we were 4. But we were matched with another master program, so in total we were about 16 still. But still, it's a different language, it's a different culture, it's a different, you have to open a new bank account, their visa. I'm not a European, so I have, I have to do everything again. I might be a bit lucky since I'm from Canada, but I know some friends from other countries which are much more difficult to get visa. You have to plan in advance so that you have everything, all the paperwork. So it's really difficult. But as you said, it's something that you gain afterward, and you know how it works. After that, you know that you're much more confident of moving. It was also one of my objectives to come to Europe and also to experience what is Europe. So that's why. Very difficult.
I have something to add.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the master's not just teaches you the course, but also about life. Like, I'm always the last minute kind of person, but after taking up this master's, I have to plan ahead everything. And I think now I'm more organized and more confident, like Thierry was saying. Yeah.
That's great. Those are really important skills to gain. So our next question, actually, it's for Mohammed, but I think we kind of covered this, but maybe just so that it's clear to everyone. A few people were asking if any of your courses are offered in German. I believe it's all in English, but do you want to just clarify for the participants?
Yeah, actually, first semester, all of the lectures are taught in English. You have just one session of German language, the language itself you should study. And the second semester, the main topics of the program, lectures of the program are taught in English. But there are some specialization that are taught in German language. Not all of them, it's just few. But majority, I mean, I can say 95% of the lectures are in English.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. So this next question is for Bryony. We have someone wondering if you think it would be possible to join your program coming with a background in communications and marketing.
Yeah, I don't see why not, really. Was it specifically the energy policy, or actually it doesn't even matter. I mean, there were people on energy policy who did languages and they'd been working as translators. People who'd done law, which I guess could be more relevant to some areas, depending on what bit of energy policy you're interested in. People who'd done all kinds of different humanities as well as sciences and engineering. So, I mean, I'm trying to still remember more about what the admission criteria were. I think because I think you needed to have, I can't remember if it was a 2-1 or a 2-2 in your undergrad, and I don't actually know what kind of, how that would translate to other grading schemes that are used. But it was also the case that if you did have work experience, then I remember that could be sort of counted as well. If you would say maybe a grade below what they were looking for, but you had work experience, that could be counted. And I think really it's, if you can kind of communicate that you're enthusiastic and interested and you've got transferable skills, but you're enthusiastic and interested in energy and that's what you want to do, then I think definitely you should apply, because like I said, that's why it was good for me, because like everybody can do.
Great, that's wonderful. And okay, so I think we're just going to take this one last question because we're running short of time, and then we'll wrap things up. So this is again for everyone. We have several people wondering if you think it's important to have work experience before doing your master's, or is it something you can do straight after you finish your bachelor's? So maybe Bryony, you can start because you did have work experience before and you kind of had a career shift, and then the others can share as well.
Well, I mean, I can see that having worked, I did obviously, learn some things, develop some skills, and obviously I just got a bit older. and I guess changed a bit as a person. And I can see that, you know, some of that was probably helpful. But equally, I mean, lots of people came straight from uni. There was kind of a mixture, I suppose, of people on the course who'd come straight from uni, or possibly with a gap year, maybe just, you know, doing an internship or something, or even, you know, just a gap year travelling or something like that. And then people who were sort of maybe about my age who'd sort of done a, you know, dabbled around a bit with things, and then wanted to do this. And then some people who actually had, you know, careers of, you know, 20 years or something, and then had decided to have a career change. And I think everybody, you know, I think everybody did well. I don't think it's, you know, it's not going to be a disadvantage if you're coming from either perspective. I don't, you know, if you want to go and do the masters, and you know you want to do it, just apply now, whatever stage you're at, really, because I don't think that, at least for my course, I don't think it would be worth delaying it to get work experience for the sake of it, because, you know, and people who had come straight from uni, you know, they've gone out and got jobs, and yeah, I don't see it's going to be a hindrance to anybody.
Okay, great. That's helpful. Cindy, do you want to? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, having work experience, I think, have two benefits. One is just for the application. When you are in the program each year, 500 people apply for admission, and out of 500 people, the selection committee, they choose those students who have some profile and some background and some more work experience, I can say. And it's really a benefit for the people who want to apply, and also for the person himself also. You know, when you start working, you have some practical knowledge, and you can compare your knowledge with the existing, you know, implementing project, that how much you know and how much you don't know, and what is your need, and which topic and which way you should focus, and this is, you know, and then you have some ideas. And when you come to your master program, also you can choose your way, because especially in PPRE, it's really a broad knowledge. I mean, there are different specialization, and lots of people, come at the first semester, they are like, okay, what should I do? Which way should I go? Should I go to solar, or should I go to wind, or should I go to biomass? And there are different things. But people who have some practical things in background, they know why they are here and for which purpose they are here, and they just focus on the way that they are supposed to do. And I think having a work experience is really, you know, important.
Okay, that's great.
I would like to say something. Yeah, I'm 22. Even I started my master's right after my bachelor's, but in my master's, I'm the youngest one, and there are people who were 30 years old, 32, who just decided that they needed some change in their career or life, so they just took up the master's. They were working as IT professionals, chemical engineers, so it doesn't really matter. They just wanted to pursue now their career in renewables. Well, I noticed that there was not a big difference, like the others were saying, between people who had experience or who didn't. It's just, as a person, you are more mature when you have a bit of working experience in dealing with people or in general. But for the masters, it doesn't really matter. But if you are a person who was in renewables before with some work experience, like Mohammed was saying, you would have a better view of which field you want to go. For example, even now, I'm not so sure which field I want to go later for my career. I don't know if I'm more interested in biomass or in solar. I have no idea. So yeah, it would be valuable, the work experience would be valuable if the field is renewables for you. If not, it doesn't really matter. Thank you.
Okay, great. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
And Thierry, I think you had some work experience before you started your master's. Do you want to share?
So, like I explained earlier, I worked already 2 years in the solar business in Canada. and when I engaged the master, I really knew what specialization I wanted to do. So that helped me to choose which specialization and everything. But I don't think that having work experience can. I don't think that it will help you. Well, it doesn't matter if you have work experience if you to enter the master. For example, I have a lot of friends who just finished their undergrad and they wanted to do some renewable energy, so they entered the master still. But also there were also people from 30 years old and with experience and everything from the telecom business. They still entered the program. So I don't think it's really that really matters. But as long as the motivation, the letter of motivation is really shows that you really want to get into this business, I think that's the most important. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Could I chip in and kind of actually ask Thierry a question? Because, oh, are we still here? Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Changed. Yeah, because kind of hearing people talk about knowing what route to go down, I mean, I know obviously I didn't do engineering, which is why it's going to be a question for Thierry, but I know that when I was doing my undergrad, I thought, oh, I've got to work my career out, I've got to know what I'm doing, it's going to be planned, and then otherwise it'll all go wrong. And having actually worked for a bit, I realised actually you can do something and you can do something else, and you develop skills all the way along, and they're all useful, and that's fine. So I wondered if Thierry could kind of advise us about if it could be like that in engineering. So for example, if you did start doing, you know, for example, you'd go into PV and then you thought, actually, what I think is really interesting is bioenergy or whatever it is. Do you think that would be a change you could make? Would you have kind of transferable skills, or do you think it is important to kind of know, you know, to have a perspective and know from the outset what you're doing?
I think renewable energy is a field that is very broad, but there's a lot of things that are similar. For example, renewable energy there's a lot of technologies that are with different maturity, and all the technologies are being challenged currently by policy, so I think there's skills that can be transferred from, for example, now I have experience from solar, but now I'm working mainly in hydrogen. When I was working in solar, there was a lot of skepticism also with this, and now we're trying to transfer. Now I'm transferring some skills to hydrogen, because it's also a technology that is, they say, immature. So. So I think there's a lot of things that you learn, and one thing that is really important is to follow the policy and understanding the financial side. And the financial side is something that is equal to all projects. When you present a project to a bank, they're going to evaluate the project almost the same way. They're going to look for the ROI. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of skills that you can transfer from different fields.
Great, thanks. So before we close this session, does anyone have any final words to share, any pieces of advice for our participants, any final remarks?
Well, yeah, if you want to do it, you know, it's interesting to you, just go and apply. I think that's what we've concluded.
Great, I think that's really good.
My best advice is to apply to all the master and see which one is going to accept you, and after you can choose.
Yeah, great. I thought the same. I just applied to all the masters that I found, and then I decided from the yes that I got which one I want to take. I think you shouldn't think so much when you're applying. At least in Europe, the application is free of cost, so just apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And regarding the PPRE, I can tell that if you want to be under the bombardment of different renewable technology, you can apply for this. It's really difficult, but if you pass, you will get a lot of knowledge. It's
great. Yeah. Wonderful. So thank you all so much for sharing your experiences today. I know everyone really appreciated it. And we've got lots of questions still coming in. So for those of you that didn't have your questions answered by our panelists, remember to log on to the IRENA community at www.irena.org/community. And there you'll find a discussion on the renewable energy master's programs. And we're going to have our panelists joining in there. So if you want to get more feedback or have more questions, log on there. So before we conclude, we'd like to ask that you participate in a very short survey to help us improve our webinar series. So you will see 3 short questions pop up on your screen. You just need to select your choice. The survey will begin now. Great. Thank you very much for all your feedback. We really appreciate that. And lastly, we would like to invite you all to connect with IRENA on social media. And then once again, remind you that if you had questions that weren't answered today, to join us on the IRENA community. Thank you very much to all of our panelists again and all of our participants. I hope you have a great day.